Now we're starting talk about the fourth section of the chapter 9 using appointment, schedule, arrival. Uh, in Simio, there are several different type of arrival. It could happen in the source button, source section. Let's take a look. The source section actually, if you look at on the right, I can using an enter arrival time, and I can using a time vary arrival rate, or I can create arrival based on certain event. We did this on the palette logic in previous homework. And also we can using a so-called arrival table. Um, in the previous example, we're using a regular arrival 6.5 minutes based on exponential arrival, but these are so-called walk-in patient. But assuming we also have patients actually incoming with based on appointment. So we want to list of appointment arrival for our patient. Here's we set up a data table called table arrival, and appointment basically are day and time properties. Okay, set on the day and time property. So here is day and time properties. So I will call it appointment, and I specify here each one of them specific day, specific time they have, which is pretty much the clinic setting. You always have patients scheduled to see the doctor from a couple of weeks ago. So these are actually the scheduled appointment for that day. So total I have almost every 30 minutes I have arrival, okay, coming in. So starting from 11:30 in the morning and the whole evening and so on and so forth. So only in the afternoon we have a so-called appointment arrival, and throughout the day we have actually uh, walk-in arrival. And therefore we also set up for that appointment, schedule the patient, I set up another source, okay, and this time, and the patient arrival based on arrival tables, okay, and using table arrival appointments, okay, using table arrivals appointments. So here, table arrivals appointments as arrival time. And each time you only have one patient arrival. And the nice things about Simio, it can set up a so-called arrival time deviation. Actually, patients coming in, even they have appointment, they're not going to come in at exactly that time. They could have a certain variation. So you can set up a so-called variation. Here we model this as a per distribution with a plus or minus 15 minutes of the variation. And also you can schedule, so there is a chance the patient doesn't even they have appointment, they miss their appointment, so it's called a no-show probability, and entity per arrival, okay, and so each time the entity command represent one patient arrival, and do I want to repeat this patterns or not? You say false, otherwise they're going to refer to the beginning of that arrival again. So these are the things actually come in, and also in this particular arrival, I'm setting up a different picture. Uh, the patient with the appointment has a higher priority than the regular patient, and then we call these type of patients, patient type is number 2 type. So we have some priority going on here. So here also for the receptionist, and they don't have any priority. But for the doctors, and we do have some priority set up. Okay, we do have some priority set up. And either I'm going to choose the largest value between if they have a priority 2, yes, or if the patient already waiting more than half hour. So if the patient's already waiting in the queue for more than half hour, it has a priority over the scheduled patient. Otherwise, the patient who has appointment has a higher priority than the walk-in patient. So let's see if we go over all the process. First is we have two different type of arrival pattern. Let's review this again real quick. And one was so-called arrival rate. So each time frames, I can have what how many arrival during that period of time. Or I can using a scheduled appointment time, giving very specific what time the patient is coming in from one, okay, every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes. And also we can set up so how to see the when the simulation stop, and I can calculate so-called how much time the patient spent in the clinic, either for the walk-in patient or for the scheduled patient, using a decide block, determining either it's priority 1 or 2, represent patient type 1 or 2, and then we tally them differently. Okay, so these are the things we've done it before, so I'm not going to redo all these from the beginning. I just show you the concept. So the dynamic ranking rule, for example, the walk-in patient give priority number 1, and the scheduled patient has a priority number 2. And also I explained the so-called dynamic selection rule, using the largest value first. Either the patient has a higher priority or the patient is waiting more than 30 minutes, and that's how we had it over here. So let's run this simulation real quick. Go on 3D. And here I also play with some of the animation at different station. I will have a different gesture and movement, and we'll talk about that in the future section. I want to actually over here I can set certain when the patient move in, I can set the entity's animation into certain motion, the patient the model entity. So for example, if you want to see what type of action or movement this particular person has, all you have to do is click on this person and right click, see the list of animation, active symbol, and these are the behavior or motion this particular entity can do. So if I change to another patient, so for example this one, and I have a different set of animation action this particular symbol can do. So I was just playing with the animation process. So here I can set animation to jump. So after they leave this the receptionist, when they go into the clinic, actually exam room, it will go with the jump. So let's take a look. Sorry, it's a little bit too fast. Let me slow it down. So over this section is using jump. So people jump it over. And after they arrive to the clinic, they have also have a certain animation change. So here what I have is, yeah, and I going into the system, when they just, before they're processing, and I'm going to change using a sign block to sign, they're called a scared walk. So they were going to, inside the clinic portion, they're going to look scared. Some of the character, they don't have that, and some of them do, and that's one to show you different. And after that, it becomes a different action going out. So this is just for you to have fun and trying to animate the whole thing. And I conclude this section.